everything changes.
Hey, welcome back to the Rockstarflipper YouTube channel, everybody. Thank you for joining me. And a lot of people requested that I do some more videos for the month of January as we close out January. Today's the 20th, I believe, of non-clothing items. A lot of people want to turn their eBay and Amazon or start Amazon with hard goods, electronics, toys, games, things that they can sell that are not clothing. A lot of you either don't like clothing, you don't know anything about clothing, or you're tired of clothing, or whatever it may be. And so I want to do some videos. I did one last week. If you missed it, I'll link it below, about items that you can start with on Amazon. It's a fantastic video. Check it out if you missed it. Otherwise, let's jump into some hard goods. Let's start with some things that are good for not just Amazon, but also good on eBay. A lot of these items will be eBay only because they may be gated in Amazon or restricted, or they just may not be good Amazon items. For example, and this isn't on the list necessarily, but you know, people that do collectible toy trains, like the Lionel trains and things like that, you can't really sell that on Amazon. There's not really a product listing for like vintage and whatnot. So that's kind of an eBay only product, although you can sell it elsewhere. There are plenty of items that are on eBay, like microphones, headphones, gaming sets, that you can sell on both eBay and Amazon. But I wanted to give you a good start on non-clothing hard good items. So let's go over there, and I'm going to show you some of these items that are just fantastic. The other thing I try to do with this is that I want to find items that I can tell you guys that you're actually going to see out in thrift stores, yard sales, estate sales, garage sales, auction houses, things like that. Not, you know, the rarest of the rare, like, oh, sell pinball machines that you're never going to find, right? Want to find items that you guys can actually see, hold, touch, feel, and buy for a profit that you are going to see on a regular basis. So I'll put those on the list. We're going to go over to my computer or my iPad, whichever I decide to use, show you those items, and then hopefully you guys can take some notes, write them down, learn to buy them, learn to sell them. And of course, if you need more than just the help that I put out in all these free videos, the package below has over 700 items, clothing, shoes, and electronics, toys, hard goods, games, everything. Not only what to buy, where to buy them, how to source alternatively outside of thrift stores. It's all included down below in that webinar and that package. It's the best $20.20 you'll invest. I assure you there's something in there that you are going to get your money back on and help you profit a lot more in this year. So without further ado, let's go over to my computer or iPad and show you some more great items to sell that are not clothing based. Thank you guys. All right, so here we go on item number one, which is going to be portable CD players. You know, those things you carried around as a kid or maybe a teenager in high school or things like that if you grew up around my time, the 80s and 90s. These were mostly in the early 90s, and a lot of them can be worth about anywhere from $25 to $35. Some of them cheaper, but if you can get a set, you know, it's in good condition. It's got the anti-skip sometimes. Those are worth more money. But if we scroll down, you know, even, you know, this Sony Discman model D151 is 18 with free shipping. Not terrible. A lot of 18s. You know, we keep scrolling. Some of those vintage Sony Discman D77s. Look at that thing, $65 all in. You can click on that one and it's sold. The great thing is 3,600 used ones have sold in the last 90 days. So that's 40 a day that are selling. It's great demand for these. Another one, $25. They put a set of headphones with them. Another one at $30. 21, so you can reasonably expect to get about all in, you know, 18 to 22 is a good estimate, anywhere, you know, up to 25 or 30 for the right one. So if you're looking for these at an estate sale or a yard sale where they're $2 or $3, that can be a great turnaround, something that you can, you know, make some money on. You know, $10-15 profit on something that's going to sell pretty quickly because these things do move quick. Just be careful of the model numbers. You know, obviously some of these are, you know, this one pretty cool looking. Sony, you could see the original listing, and this one sold for $40 all in, so pretty good there for the right model number. So CD players, number one. The second thing that I want to show you guys is going to be kitchen appliances. So if we do a kitchen mixer part, right? Oops, and I can't spell, but it corrected it for me because that's eBay and it's great. Okay, kitchen mixer parts, home appliance, you know, kitchen appliances all together are really going to do well, and for some reason it doesn't want to load, but there we go. And you can just filter this. I'm on my iPad, but you can click solds and we can do condition used. And so I searched for a very ambiguous thing, but here's some of the parts, like a kitchen and mixer beater, $28, beaters at $22. So if you were to sort this out by like, you know, a kitchen mixer, and we just search for the kitchen mixer, right? We're going to get hundreds of results, and you can again scroll down. You can see some of these parts on these kitchen mixers are just expensive as can be. I mean, some of the mixers themselves are ridiculously expensive. So don't just, you know, even though it may not work, it could still be worth parts. You can also go to like a kitchen blender. We can look up the blenders. So any of these kitchen appliances, again, we can filter these by sold items. We could do the condition used, and it should give us a result here. And you get some of these blenders, but if you look, some of the pieces, like look, here's just the replacement base for this one, sold for $28. We keep going down. Sometimes the glass jar, you know, this one sold for $40. This one is 30 plus 10 shipping, 40. It's just a replace bar. The blades can be, you know, a blender. If you just search for, let's look at it, blender blade, and we just search for that. And we're going to give it a second to load here. Excuse my internet tonight. I think it's because I'm recording on the iPad, which I really haven't done too much of, but I think I like it. Let's try that again. The blender blade is, there we go. So we're going to filter that by solds and condition used, right? And then we see that some of these blades, look, the replacements on these things can be quite expensive. Even that one, just basic, for $18. Keep scrolling down. We get some of the pieces. This Ninja blade sold for $20 all in. Here's another one, an extractor. This one sold for $15 all in. So some of these pieces can be parted out pretty well. So number 2 is kitchen appliances, small appliances, blenders, kitchen tops. Now I'm going to follow on that little thing, and I'm going to do a number 3 at kitchen knives, right? Kitchen knives are fantastic. Fantastic. Some of these are so expensive, it's crazy. Let's go to our solds and let's go to condition used. And here we go. Look. A damaged, which they can't even spell damage, but a damaged lot of 3 Japanese chef's kitchen knives, Hacho Vintage, right? Sold for $30 all in. $30 all in. They even put the weight of them. That's pretty cool. Damaged, right? Here is a vintage Cutco French chef kitchen knife, 9 1/4 inch blade, marbleized. They sold for $51 used. That one sold for $51 on the used market for one individual knife. Okay, we keep scrolling down. Here's even one. This is a Calfallen 7-inch Santoku knife, full forge, no stain, German steel kitchen knife, sold for almost $18 all in, or over $18 all in. Japanese kitchen knives are fantastic. Here's a Pampered Chef 8-inch blade kitchen knife with self-sharpening case that sold for $28 used, right? So knives are really good. Make sure you know what you're doing. Here's a Cutco Santoku chef knife, $82 all in for one knife. So keep an eye out at those estate sales, man, in the kitchens. Kitchen knives are great. Now, the next one we're going to do is vacuums. Look at Kirby vacuum cleaners. Look at Dysons. Look at all this stuff. Let's go to filter and sold. And let's go to condition and used, right? And there we go. So some of these Kirby's are going to sell for a lot of money just as the vacuums, right? They're going to sell for $100, $125. But there's a lot of parts that are really good for these things as well. You know, it's going to be the pieces like sometimes the bag replacements, sometimes the cleaning brushes. Dyson parts sell really, really good. But if you look up Kirby vacuum, and actually if we get rid of the cleaner and just put Kirby vacuum, you guys can see they just had some parts there. Let's go to sold. Let's go to condition and used. Let's do it again. And sometimes if you go by the category here and cleaner parts, look, vacuum cleaner parts. There it is. Look, the wall caddy tool storage sells for $25 for that little plastic thing, right? Keep scrolling down. You've got all kinds of stuff. I'm pretty sure they're showing all the conditions. So let's go to used. Let's filter out the brand new stuff because most of the stuff you're going to find is going to be used. There we go. Look, there's a Kirby vacuum suction hose swivel. $29. Here is the bag piece, $29, right? Keep scrolling down. Keep scrolling down. Here is a metal dust scope demo tool dirt catcher. Look, this thing sold for $46. The little brush thing sold for $10. These things are fantastic to sell. Some of these pieces are just ridiculously priced. So vacuum cleaners. Also look for Dyson and look for the other well-known brands. But that's number 4. Okay, number 5 is one I am admittedly not that up to date on. I don't know much about it, but fishing lures. You see these at every yard sale and estate sale, right? Fishing reels, fishing lures, fishing lures. I don't know. Long story short, they sell. I don't know them very well, but I know a lot of people mention these to me. And if we go over to condition and used for fishing lures, you guys can see, look at this little pre-Repella Storm Wiggle Wart Naturistic Perch V60 Crankbait Fishing Lure. One lure. Look at this. Look at this thing. Sold for $21 all in. Here's a set of 5 that sold for $19. Here's a set of 4 Bomber something or others that sold for $44. Fantastic. The other thing I would recommend is going into some of these people's eBay stores and seeing if they have a lot of items in the fishing department, and you can see what they sell and how much they make off of them, right? So here's a set of 19 assorted jerkbait fishing lures for $48. Maybe something you picked up at a yard sale for $5 or $10, right? So really good fishing lures, and reels are number 5. Let's go over to number 6 because I think you guys are going to like number 6. And this is vintage photos, vintage and old time photos. Now, excuse me if this goes a little bit risque because a lot of these photos will be risque, but that's just the way that they go. Let's filter it by solds. And the condition, obviously used is what I want. But a lot of these old-time photos, look, this is a vintage, original World War I framed portrait of a soldier that sold for 53 and change, 54. Let me filter these by condition or by location here because we don't want the worldwide ones. We just want to see the Americans that sold these for right now. If you're not in America, sorry. Here's some more, just some photos, $72, right? Here's a picture of just a woman with a car. It only sold for $5, but you get an idea. You could lot these up. So here's a good one. This guy's got a hunting video with a Ford model that they sold for about $21-ish, right? So you guys can see that. Here's a photo of 1940s Anthony Bruno of Hollywood pinup photography of wife Angela Bruno. And just making sure it was safe there. Sold that one for $46, right? Let's keep scrolling down. Here's just a vintage 1935 Acme newspaper of a girl in a towel that sold for $12.50. So I have actually seen some of these pictures that have sold go for, you know, $10 and $15 and $20 and $30. You have to be careful because some of these, excuse me guys, may pop up. But here's one. A picture of a state bank with just old-time guys standing there, and it sold for $32, $33. So you find a box, an old shoe box or something full of old photos, they may be something that's worth a couple $100s in that box. So something to keep your eye on because they're worth good money, especially the content. You're looking for cars, you're looking for war, you're looking for pinups, you're looking for old nude type photos. Those do really well. You're looking for any of that stuff. And while we're on that topic, let's go ahead and look up vintage cameras, which is going to be our next stop on this little adventure of items you should be looking for at estate sales and yard sales, all kinds of stuff that you can sell. So this is going to be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, number 7 vintage cameras. Let's go ahead and sell those out. Solds. Let's go ahead and go to condition used. The iPad is so good for just getting around here. And then, of course, I always do item location US only because I want to see what's sold here. You can look at the whole world, but I look at US. Okay, it's going to load up here a vintage camera. And here we go with vintage cameras. I mean, you've got, here's a Lionel Line-X. This one's crazy camera. I know what this is. 135 plus 18 shipping, so $153. You've got, some of these old style Dick Tracy toy camera. Look at this thing. $25 this thing sold for. Pretty cool. You keep scrolling down, you see all kinds like this Nikon camera, this old f2 action finder. This thing's probably from the 80s if I had to guess, with old Duracell batteries. This thing sold for $247. Again, a Nikon FA. You're looking for Canons, you're looking for Nikons, you're looking for Polaroids, you're looking for Olympus is good. Here's a good one, an Olympus 35 RC. Familiar with this camera as well. It's a 35 millimeter 128. This thing sold for $70. You may find this at an estate sale or yard sale for $5 or $10, and you can flip it. So keep an eye out for those old cameras. Okay, number 8 is one you guys are probably familiar with. Yearbooks. Yearbooks, I see them at all kinds of estate sales and garage sales. Not all of them are valuable, but some of them, depending on the school, depending on the college, nursing schools, popular colleges, Ivy League schools, Yale, Harvard, Brown, Princeton, things like that, Penn State, all that sort of stuff is going to pop up as popular, and certain years, certain people are always looking for certain years. So if we go over to used yearbooks, we scroll down. If you have a celebrity you went to school with or who are peers in yours, a baseball player, football player, sports figure, politician, something like that, you'll be able to sell it for more. So here's a 1974 UW Whitewater yearbook, Miniska, Whitewater, Wisconsin, sold for $45, all in, right? And so they just take some pictures of the inside, and somebody may want that bad enough. Here's a 1955 Estroma High School, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That one sold for $43 all in. Here's a 1978 Kearney High School, San Diego, California yearbook, annual volume, and it was sold for $17. But you know what? That's something that somebody nowhere is going to buy, and somebody may have bought that at a yard sale for $1 and flipped it. Here's a 78 Walker Junior High School yearbook from La Palma, California. California ones seem to do well if they have cool artwork on the front, but if they're in popular years like the Kennedy years, things like that, 60s, 70s, 80s, they'll do well. Again, this one sold for $30. Here's a West Point USMA athletic letter major A and howitzer, 1928. So this is a very old yearbook, obviously with the A, but this one sold for $83 all in. I don't know, how new we would find, but make sure that you find ones. Here's a System Overload class of 2002. Class of 2012. Excuse me. This is the Scepter, Milwaukee, Oregon, Clackamas County, 2012. And this yearbook sold for $18. So yearbooks can be profitable. Just look them up. If there's none similar, then do your best to price them on a similar year or area. So number 8. Number 9, when you're in these estate sales, go in the bathroom. Sometimes they pull out all of the perfumes. Let's go with out of print perfume. Let's see. I don't know if this is the way you search for this. Out of print perfume. Out of production. Let's go to sold items. Condition. Condition can be new or used. It doesn't matter because they could still be sealed. But you're looking for things like Victoria's Secret. OOP is something that you'll see a lot. And let's see if we change it to OOP, if it will pop up more. But out of production, out of print, out of distribution. Bath and Body Works, brands like that have like scents that they may not make anymore. Scents that they may, actually I want to do any condition, but I want to do filter solds. Things like smells and scents like Christmas scents that they only made for 1 year, things like that. Here's one, Vintage Heaven Scent perfume here, and that's a $30 sale. So let's go to Vintage Bath and Body Works. I'm just going to give you guys an example. It's probably the best one to do. Vintage Bath and Body Work here. There we go. So filter these by solds. Now we're getting into what we need to be. Number 9 here. Same with Victoria's Secret. They have a lot of smells that they don't make anymore. Here we go. Original Bath and Body Work. Check this out. $38 free shipping. Honeysuckle Body Splash with aloe vera. This is 99% full, which means it was opened. It was used. Right? Here's one, a Twisted Peppermint, 7.4 ounce. They sold for $9.28. Here's a Bath and Body Works Vintage Sun Ripened Raspberry Creamy Body Wash, 8 ounces. This looks like it is new, and they sold this one for $18. So some of this stuff, look at this 3-piece rare Bath and Body Works Blushing Cherry Blossom Mist Lotion Gel, 8-10 ounces. Used. This is used, right? They listed this as used. Look, it's not even completely full. They got $32 for this stuff. Insane. Some people are okay with that, right? Using used. Here's a Bath and Body Works Vintage Original Freesia Splash Spray Mist, 2 fluid ounces, used. $19 for this used. So keep an eye out for those. There's somebody on my videos and channel who's going to kill me for giving away this kind of little secret. But you know what? It's great. Everyone can find them. Number 10. is going to be belt buckles. Again, you're going to find these at yard sales, estate sales. You'll find them at flea markets sometimes. You'll find them in the closets of estate sales. So go to solds. Let me show you guys some of this. Go to conditions used and scroll down some of these big belt buckles, especially if you type in retro or vintage. But check this out. Mountain State Collision belt buckle. Look, something from West Virginia. This thing sold for $18.74. Let's keep scrolling down. Here's a Mexican alpaca silver belt buckle with turquoise inlay. This thing sold for $32, right? Let's keep scrolling down and see what we can see. Here's a Modified Motorcycles Association set of 3 belt buckles. They sold for $45.99 plus 17, so they were asking around $63 and took a best offer. Here's a Cadillac belt buckle. They sold for 10. Here's some kind of weird Cubby drilling pewter advertisement. They sold for 13, 11, 99, 12 and change for that one. So here's an Elvis belt buckle. I mean, here's a Dolce & Gabbana belt buckle. Here's, let's keep scrolling. These vintage ones can be really expensive if you find the right ones. Here's a good one, a Wolf Fox bronze belt buckle limited edition, $30, right? We keep scrolling. Let's see what else we find. This is a comic book scene large with the belt. You'll never understand me, and it sold for $19. They took a best offer. All right, let's continue down. Look at the Nintendo belt buckle. They sold for $8.99. That's pretty funny. Here is a Salvatore Ferragamo belt buckle, $100 with the little leather belt. Here we have a vintage Marine Corps belt buckle that they sold for almost 15, 14 and a half. Keep scrolling. Some of the designer ones, just be sure they're real. Here's a Jack Daniels one. It sold for $12. I would have expected that to get more, actually. Here is a vintage Golden Stallion Ladies Western Horse belt buckle. Thing sold for $58. That's crazy. So belt buckles. Here's a two-tone red enamel bug insect beetle belt buckle. How crazy is this thing? $25. So obviously ones with inlays and colors and turquoise and reds and blues and things like that sell really good. Here we have a red Mason Margiela belt with gold-plated United States belt buckle. $38.53 all in. So lots of cool stuff. So these are 10 items, just things to get your mind churning and talking about other things besides clothing. So number 1, CD players, kitchen appliances, for parts even. Number 3, kitchen knives. Number 4, vacuums, even for parts. Number 5, fishing lures. Number 6, vintage and old-time photos. 7, cameras that are old and Polaroids. 8, yearbooks. 9, perfumes and body washes, out of prints, vintage, old, collectible smells and scents. And number 10, these belt buckles and belts. Always great items to collect. Again, if you want these 10 and tons more items to look through to get your mind churning, pick up my 2020 package. It's down below, and it includes over 700 items. Some of them you know about, some of them you probably don't know about, and I'll be redoing that entire list for the rest of the year, and I'll update them for you for free if you do pick up that package. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll have more of these out for you soon. I appreciate it, and I will see you again tomorrow.